Hello and welcome to this week's edition of Football Fancast, where we explore the issues concerning you, the supporters of the beautiful game. Today's podcast asks you whether you would like the choice to stand or sit at football matches, as we investigate the history, progress and possible implications of the Safe Standing campaign, where hundreds of thousands of fans support the idea to introduce row seating into British football stadiums. However, we start with a flashback to 1989. Specifically Saturday, April the 15th, when this happened.
94 Liverpool soccer fans have been crushed to death during an FA Cup semi-final.
6 minutes after kick-off, the crush began as thousands of Liverpool fans surged into a terrace already packed to bursting point.
Those already inside were pushed forward to be crushed up against the spike-topped safety railings at the front.
The death toll eventually rose to 96. In the darkest day of English football during the opening stages of the FA Cup semi-final between Liverpool and Nottingham Forest at Hillsborough. The subsequent inquiry and report by Lord Justice Taylor into the tragic deaths of those 96 football supporters recommended the enforcement of all seated stadia inside England's top 4 divisions, essentially banning terraces.
I'm John Darch, I'm the operator of the Safe Standing Roadshow.
John Darch is a key figure of the Safe Standing campaign's bid to get rail seating approved by the government, as he is incensed by the current standing ban.
Went to Germany quite a lot and saw the rail seats over there, got into the safe standing arguments here, realised how illogical the ban is and thought, I hate things that are illogical. I would love everybody to have the choice as to whether they sit or stand at football.
John operates the Safe Standing Roadshow, where he visits football clubs across the United Kingdom to promote rail seating with a small demonstration. Rail seats are a form of tip-up seating that is currently used in all seated stadia. You simply push the plastic seat down to sit and stand up to allow spectators past as the seat automatically flips back up. However, rail seats can be locked into their upright position, permitting permanent standing accommodation. And above every rail seat is a waist-high barrier that prevents any possibility of crushing or surging from people behind. Marcus Keppel-Palmer, a sports law lecturer at the University of the West of England, believes football supporters should be given the choice on whether they want to sit or stand at a football match.
It is all about freedom of choice, and it's a matter of balancing policy, safety, crowd control management against, as it were, one's rights to choose. And I think it is one of the aspects of being a football supporter that's where people are being demonised and criminalised in certain aspects there just because they're paying money to come and watch a game.
Kalum Nolan, director of the forthcoming film Sit Down Shut Up, also favours the right for football fans to have the choice. Kalum is currently filming the feature-length documentary to raise awareness of safe standing and help legalise rail seating in English football stadiums.
If you imagine in the future, say in 5 or 6 years' time, that we can go to a football match and we can stand in those safe standing rail seats, the atmosphere will be much better, prices will have to come down. I can see a bit of a revolution coming. I know it does seem optimistic and it does seem a little bit out there, but I do think it starts with safe standing.
Another person who has become heavily involved in the push for safe standing is author Peter Caton. Peter has watched over 1,400 matches across 110 different football stadiums, but there was one particular incident at Upton Park that led him to launch his own stand-up, sit-down campaign, which is now merged with the Football Supporters Federation.
At the time, there was a lot of conflict in the Bobby Moore Lower, where I watched West Ham, where the stewards were trying to get people to sit down and other people were standing up. The atmosphere was very flat, and there was one game where there was a group of lads that stood up to try and get the atmosphere going, and the stewards went and chucked them out, and I just thought, something's got to be done.
With hundreds of fan surveys revealing overwhelming support for standing accommodation, it is no wonder that politicians have also joined the argument.
I'm Ben Nicholls. I'm the Lib Dem parliamentary candidate for Romsey and Southampton North.
In August 2014, the Liberal Democrat Party pledged to make safe standing part of their 2015 manifesto for the upcoming general election this month. Parliamentary candidate Ben Nicholls strongly believes his party have latched onto a winning policy.
It matters to a lot of people. Football it's like rain, isn't it? It's just part of Britain. Tea or I don't know what else. It's important to so many of us. It's right, I think, that politicians pursue and work on policies that people actually care about.
Rail seating is a design inspired by the Germans, with many top-flight Bundesliga sides such as Borussia Dortmund, Bayer Leverkusen and Werder Bremen using a safe-standing structure. Ticket prices for supporters wishing to stand behind these row seats are charged as little as £10. Despite lowering prices, clubs receive increased revenue by doubling their capacity, with 2 fans standing behind every row seat.
My name is Dirk Koester. I'm working at Hannover 96 in the PR department.
Hanover's Dirk Koester feels the capability to make football cheaper is a key factor behind Safe Standing's staggering success in Germany.
We have 8,800 stands, always sold out because a standing ticket here in Germany costs 13 euros, which is about 10 quid. So it's quite easy for students and pupils to come to the matches and don't spend so much money.
With the Football Supporters Federation relentlessly working on bringing Germany's safe standing spectacle into England, Director of Communications Michael Brunskill revealed that authorities are worried safe standing could become too popular.
Funnily enough, one of the concerns that we have seen raised among people objecting to safe standing areas, and particularly the authorities, if they had a trail or had a safe standing area, small safe standing area, may prove too popular. There may be too many people wanting to go into it.
Well, to get a rough estimate of how popular the campaign has become, we travelled to various football grounds across the country to gather your thoughts on safe standing.
Get up, stand up for your right.
Very much support safe standing. It's how football should be.
Not near me, because I can't stand myself, so if somebody was standing in front of me, I'd have to move.
I support it as long as everyone takes their own responsibility.
Sit down, more comfortable.
I think it's probably a good thing. The visibility would be better, I think, accessibility as well.
I do not know what you mean.
Yes, I do support safe standing because it creates a better atmosphere, and I think fans have a better time when they can stand and sing.
No, I think it shows tremendous disrespect to the people that died at Hillsborough.
Anywhere I've been there has been standing. It's always a good day out.
Sit, because if you stand, your legs ache.
I do, because I think a lot of people want it. It doesn't bother me one way or another. I've grown out of that.
Never heard of it.
Maybe bring safe standing in for the rugby, but sitting for the football. You've got to be awkward, George.
However, not everyone is convinced by the prospect of installing rail seats in English football, particularly the government and safety authorities, who have to approve the campaign in order to legalise safe standing. Former Chief Executive of the Sports Ground Safety Authority, Keith Sears, thinks the potential transformation of all-seated accommodation to standing areas is a lot more difficult than campaigners make out.
I can virtually guarantee that if the stadium was built to accommodate an all-seater audience, there wouldn't be the capacity in the exit system to accommodate an increase in capacity, because the economics of building a stadium is that you build things just sufficiently wide enough.
With football clubs inside the top 4 divisions still complying with the 1990 Taylor Report's recommendations, MP Andy Burnham also backs the current legislation of housing supporters in all-seated stadia. The Shadow Secretary of State for Health is currently helping those suffering families from the Hillsborough disaster fight for justice in the ongoing inquest. So he admits he cannot possibly think about safe standing at this moment in time, because all-seater stadia was the only good thing to come out from the Hillsborough disaster.
To this day, the families, if you speak to them, would say that they feel that was one of the only things they ever really got, really. It's an issue that I don't think can be looked at properly until Hillsborough has been dealt with, finally. At the moment, I wouldn't possibly vote for it, given that the families say to me it's the only thing they feel that was ever been done in respect of their loved ones.
On the other hand, one man thinks the all-seater stadium rule is in fact more dangerous than the prospect of safe standing. Senior lecturer in Sociology and Sport, Mark Turner, defines the current legislation as unsafe seating, having studied English football fandom since the 1990s.
I was at Wembley during the semi-final of the FA Cup in 2011. City played United, and before the game, the whole end behind the goal, Man City fans, as the United team was being announced, turned their back to the United fans and did this pause. And I use the term unsafe seating because, I mean, how unsafe is that?
What remains clear throughout this programme is that there's a heated debate on whether safe standing should be implemented in English football. Campaigners are convinced row seating is the way forward to accommodate those spectators who persistently stand in front of all-seated accommodation, believing safe standing will also create better atmosphere at match days and a potential to lower ticket prices as seen in Germany. However, the government and relevant authorities are still sceptical about the concept of safe standing, believing the all-seater stadium rule is still the safest measure to watch football from in England, whilst pointing out what happened at Hillsborough over 26 years ago as a fateful reminder. Nonetheless, the safe standing campaign will continue to try and define the odds in a bid to legalise rail seating, But as another football season draws to a close later this month, a non-league club has given campaigners plenty of optimism for next year. Back in February, conference side Grimsby Town announced their ambition to become the first club in the country to use safe standing areas. Stadium manager Nick Dale told Football Fancast that Grimsby want to set an example to other clubs to show how safe standing can be safely implemented.
From our support, it's been overwhelmingly in favour of it, and I think supporters are genuinely really appreciative that the club's trying to listen to their needs. You know, all too often clubs are too busy telling supporters what they can and can't do. We're trying to be the first trailblazer, so to speak, that's setting the example, and all the eyes and ears of the footballing world will be on us.
Grimsby have given us a glimmer of hope of knowing whether safe standing could be licensed in England's top 4 divisions, as the potential trial at Blundell Park would finally unveil concrete evidence on whether or not rail seating could be safely installed. Oh, and there goes the final whistle, meaning it is now time to gather the post-match thoughts from you, our listeners, on the subject of safe standing. Get in touch with Football Fancast via Facebook, Twitter and email, with all the details online at www.footballfancast.com. That is all we have time for this week's edition of Football Fancast. Unfortunately, we do leave it on a cliffhanger, as the debate surrounding safe standing remains in the balance, and the future completely obscure. Who would have thought Grimsby Town would be holding the key to the next potential innovation in football stadium accommodation? Or will fans have to wait until the Hillsborough inquest reach a revised verdict? Let's see which one rises to their feet first. I've been Dan Church, and this has been Football Fancast. Good night.